Hello, listeners of the Art Versations podcast. Welcome to another Art Versations, a meditative conversation about the artistic process. Wherever you are, whatever task you are currently tasking, thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Bri, like the cheese. And if you haven't already given the podcast a follow on your preferred platform, take a minute to do so, and we will begin a long-lasting connection. No contract needed, dear listener. There's also an Instagram to follow along with, so you can connect with each featured guest and what they're up to, as well as quotes from each episode and highlight clips. Lastly, if you're a Spotifyer, leave a response on the community question. This week, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the filmmaking process. Speaking of, this week we have Ace Kazkayasi on the pod. Ace is a director, first assistant director, and producer, currently based in Toronto. I was so thrilled when Ace reached out to me because she is certainly a force to be reckoned with. She spoke to me about starting her film career from scratch and how she came to be working on many, many sets within only 1 year. Truly an inspiring conversation about tenacity and how passion can drive an artist to success. Listener, if you've ever been in this predicament, which in my experience so many artists tend to be, stick with us. Without any more blabber from me, here is Ace Kazkayasi.
We have fish in the story.
Ooh, like live fish.
Live fish, and also fake because we don't want to torture it. So
Gotcha.
Any scenes that are going to be we're not going to be torturing any fish.
Amazing.
Sorry,
no torturing fish on this
Yes.
on this podcast.
No.
Hi, Ace.
Oh, was it already recording?
It was.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so grateful that we could do this and that we can meet.
Yeah, for sure. Same. I'm super grateful that you wanted to have me on. This is so exciting, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I feel like we can get to know each other a little bit better with this little game I like to do. It's 1 minute of just speed, get to know you, kind of like speed dating.
Nice.
So I'm gonna put 1 minute on the clock.
Ooh, stressful.
No, and you can talk about yourself, you can talk about your work, whatever you want to talk about. Is that cool?
Yes.
You want to go for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Ready? Go.
All right, so my name is Ace. I'm 21 years old, and I want to be a film director. You can call me a baby film director, I guess. I work as an assistant director on the side. That's my day job. And currently, I just took up a production manager, so I'm doing that. I've been dipping my toes into film now for about 1 year, professionally, I would say. And before that, I still wanted to be in film. I was writing scripts and doing student short films, but filmmaking is my biggest passion. And I have other passions. Dance is actually how I got started. Ooh, dance is I would say my first love in art. That's always how I describe it. But my lasting, forever love is film. And yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Oh, you did it within the time frame.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay, wow. So you were a dancer, you started in that in that place. Did you transition into film because of wanting to work with dance and film, or do you see it as very separate mediums?
Honestly, I see it as separate, but something I love about film is that it has a little bit of every single medium. If you think about it, it has music, it has dance, it has art. You have a whole art department setting up, we go into studios which are just white walls, and they make that look like a hospital room,
right.
like a prison. It's just crazy how much art and how many different methods of art goes into it. But I think when I was around 7 years old, I watched this film called Corpse Bride by Tim Burton.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And I remember, I didn't know what a film director was, but I remember watching it and I was like, that's what I want to be. I look up to Tim Burton's name and I was like, that guy, that's what I want to be. And I still did dance and I loved it. I did dance until age like 18, I would say, until university, but I had a really bad injury.
Oh no.
I dislocated my right knee.
Where? In your right knee?
Yeah. It was super hurtful.
Was it your ACL or was it
ACL torn? Like it was
so
horrible. Sorry. Yeah. And after that, like it was gonna be, I was still auditioning for some crew roles because at that time it felt more natural to me to, oh, I can actually make money off of dance, like maybe become teacher or something, because I had like 10 plus years of experience, and in film I had no experience. So at the time, like, it was more of a like, oh, this career might be easier for me to start because of like just experience. But then I discovered that it's gonna be hard. Like, nothing is easy. Like, even if you want to be a dance teacher and you have all this experience, like there's a lot of good dancers around. I was auditioning for some crews and all of that, but my knee was really like not doing well, and I was like, I don't want to push this. And also my parents were never like supportive of dance ever.
Really?
Yes.
So they took you to all those classes, and then when you were injured and 18 years old and about to move on to your next chapter, they were like, no, screw it, stop. They were
very academic oriented. So my father's a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and my mom used to work at the bank. So they're very like academic family, and I feel like they always saw it as a like, this is Ace's hobby.
I see.
And I ended up being really good at my hobby, and I ended up like taking more and more lessons and getting into more competitive teams. And they like would say like, oh, this is taking too much of your time, but my academics were like going well, so they were like, okay, we're not going to say anything about it. But I think in their mind it was always like a hobby thing. So when I brought up like, hey, I'm auditioning, hey, I might be a teacher, whatever,
I'm actually doing this,
yeah, they were like so not about it.
Really? That's very interesting that like they couldn't like see that easy transition for it becoming your career because you had all those years experience. But I also understand through, you know, being in a performance career or like something that's so seemingly like unstable, you know, like a doctor has like a very clear path, like you go to med school and then you do this and that, or like even in like accounting, right? Because you said your mom was an accountant, like being like, this is my job 9 to 5 every day, there's stability in that. Dancing, you know, it's a lot, there's a lot up and downs, there's no work, there's work. So I can see where like your parents would be like, well, we want something more stable for you. It was kind of the same for me and my family.
I was gonna ask you that actually. Was your family supportive of you?
Like they have been like supportive when I'm working. You know, like they'll be like, oh good, you're actually doing something with your time. And I teach a lot, and that kind of gives them, you know, a sense of like, oh, I'm still working even if I'm not like on stage all the time. But it did take a lot of convincing to be like, no, I actually really want to do this. But anyways, I feel like it's cool that you've also like stayed in the arts. And like, you spoke a little bit to me about like not going to school for film and trying to network and trying to like build a community. Like, how has that been for you?
Honestly, it took like a year.
Yeah, I bet.
And I still do it. I feel like less active now. Before, I feel like I would put in time every day to just actively network, whether that would be just going to Instagram and DMing people, which like might sound funny, but it actually works. I always say that it works. Like, in the time and age that we live, internet is such a good opportunity, especially if you're not going to film school, of networking with people and just getting your foot into the industry. Because I feel like once you're in, then like your friend will bring you on to another production, and then you'll meet new people, and that way you can build up your career.
Totally. Do you find that to be like a lot of work though, like having to be on Instagram like 24/7? Like, it
was a lot of work, and it's tiring because I'm not one to like always post on Instagram, or like
same.
I downloaded TikTok even for this to like network, and then I was like, this is so like, I feel like a 50-year-old, like I'm forcing myself. I feel like I'm such an old soul, but at the time I tried my best. Like, I wouldn't just go and text everyone. I feel like I'd be picky about it and see this cinematographer, I've been watching him for a month now. He's really good. I feel like I would learn from him. So I'm going to reach out to him. And that way it would work. And sometimes people don't even reply, which could be like discouraging, but it's not personal. Like they might not see it or they might be busy. But whenever it works, like it worked a couple times and that's all you need, honestly.
Good. I'm glad that that's like helped you to build a path and build a community. There's so many artists on Instagram too. Yeah. Like different kind of artists. And like, do you find as you're building that connection, like, are there people that you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to work with you?
That's so true. I've definitely experienced that. Or like you see them on social media and they're doing all these cool projects. So you end up like going for them. And most of the time when I reach out to people, I say like, I'll come work for you for free because I don't want to ask for like...
That's very good of you to do that. However, I don't subscribe to the I'm just doing it for free.
Yeah, it was very hard. Yeah. And like in the beginning, that's what I was doing. Now I'm at a place where I have a set rate.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Pay the artist.
Yes. We need to be paid or else we can't do it anymore.
But I feel like at the start, I didn't have any experience. So I felt like someone bringing me onto their set was like an opportunity for me and they weren't getting anything out of that.
Gotcha.
Even though they were, because you still help, you still do physical work, you're there. But yeah, in the start, like it was tough. I was working for free. I forgot what I was saying, but I think it was something along the lines of, you asked me, whenever I go work for free, like for me, it's really important the vibe of someone and how they treat other people. And very sometimes important. It happens that you see on social media that all these cool projects that they work on and I really like their work and they're actually really good. But you go in and you volunteer your time and they don't treat you well and they have this big ego. Yeah. And those are the type of people that even if they offer me to come back, I don't want to go.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, it's like you get to know someone really well when you're like hour 10 into the process. Yes. People are tired, people are stressed, and then you realize, at least for me, like I realized like there are people who don't value every single team member and like will create this hierarchy of like I'm important and you're at the bottom, and I don't respect that. I don't think that's a way to work, especially when we're working as a team of like multiple departments. And I'm glad that you've like made a point of saying like you need to pay me and you need to treat me with respect and like building that level of like just respect, like general respect. Yeah. I feel like that's hard to find right away as you're starting out.
Yes. Yeah. That is such a good point they touched on, like the hierarchy. Like I feel like it's very apparent in some sets that I go to. And I've always watched other people's sets, and as I start getting onto my own set more and more and it's getting more and more professional, I try to always like ground myself and say like, you've had these bad experiences, so you treat everyone above you. Like I always try to put my crew above me and everyone on the same level.
I respect that so much.
Like, I don't want to ever have that, like, director ego of, like, I'm at the top, you do what I say. Like, I like listening to other people's ideas because it actually makes your film so much better.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, we need each other. Yes. Or else it's going to be just one perspective, one lens, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And also, I understand that I'm not an expert in all those things. Totally. Like being a director doesn't mean you're the expert, because for example art department, like I've only done art department like once in my life, but the girl that I'm working with, she has done it many times. This is her job. Gotcha. So obviously she knows more, and the film, yes, it will be my vision and I will do my best to like show her my vision through like reference pictures and like talking to her, but at the end of the day it's gonna be her art.
Yeah. And you have to like uplift that vision, yes, and hope that she'll be able to listen to you and, and like interacting with people. Like it's, I feel like there's so many great stories from sets or like but behind the scenes secrets that like influence what the actual film will look like.
Mm-hmm.
So if they hadn't have had that experience together, then it changes the film.
For sure.
And so yeah, like we all just need to be able to like treat each other with a baseline of respect.
I agree.
The film's not gonna get made.
Yeah, respect and kindness. Like
Yeah.
I've been on sets where I've really been like stepped on, even as an assistant director, of like people asking me to do so much more, like stuff that is not on my plate. Just like applying to grants. Like that's not a job for assistant director, but I've been stepped on for not doing that for a film.
Wow.
Like that's a producer job.
Absolutely.
And I asked him like, "Oh, are you going to give me producer credit?" And he was like, "No."
And it's a he.
Yeah, of course.
That says something too.
Of course, older.
Yeah. There's something so like sad about, you know, when I look at the Oscars or like the Academy Awards, like, and all of the directors are male, or like all of the nominations are male. I'm wondering too, like you had spoken a little bit about this, but like what does it mean to you to be like a female in film, a female in arts, making, you know, work about females? What does that mean to you?
I'm so proud of it. You know, I always say being a woman is my superpower, and I really believe in that. And I know some people might say, "Oh, that's so cliche" or whatever, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard, and it's harder because it's one thing going on set for 17 hours, it's another thing being on set for 17 hours and on your period. Like it's hard, you know?
I feel you.
So I don't want to come up here and say it's the same thing, and especially when people step on you and you know, it's like it's actually hard. And I know like guys listen to this stuff and they're like, "Oh, females are just exaggerating," and they're like, but no, like it is hard, especially when like you try to prove yourself, and men who are older than you on the table look at you as if you don't have a say, and even judge you in a way that like, "Oh, how did she come here?" Like I know a lot of people, females who are up there doing great things, who are being judged of like, "How did she come here?" But you don't ask those type of questions if it was a guy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is like horrible. So I've been really like distant and respectful with everyone to like protect my image and just like make a like respectful name for myself. But it's really like sad that that is a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost as if we have to like put up a shield of like, already, even if I haven't met someone, I have to like really make sure I'm taking care of myself.
Yes.
Because I don't know how they're going to judge me, put me in my place, put me in a box.
Or try to take advantage of me.
Totally.
Talk to me in ways that are not professional.
Yeah. It's so sad that that's like, that has happened. I'm hoping that we've, you know, been able to uncover stories and talk a little bit more about it, and maybe that will reverse things. But I feel like it's still prevalent. It's still there.
Yeah.
How do you like overcome, like if someone is making you feel stepped on, how do you overcome that and just do your job?
Honestly, I feel like I've gotten better at it, but it comes with more experience and maturity. I feel like when I was first getting started, other reason why I actually considered, oh, maybe I shouldn't even pursue film and I should just go with dance, because I've already done dance and dance is good and maybe I can make money off of it, whatever, is because I had like a few older white men producers tell me, this is not an industry for women. You won't have a family life, you won't have a stable life, and it'll be really hard for you. I think it's best you don't even start.
They didn't even want you to start.
Yeah.
They flat out told you that, like, stop while you're ahead.
Yeah, and I think what's even sadder is they weren't saying it in a mean way to discourage me. They were more so saying it as, like, this is the reality. You're gonna try and you're gonna fail, so you shouldn't even start. We're saying this for the best of you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so... I can't imagine, like, hearing that and then, like, still being as successful as you already are, like... going through all of these projects. No, but like you were telling me, like you're like, yeah, now I'm a production manager and I'm doing like, you are working.
Yeah.
Like you are in the business already. Like it has happened for you now, and like I just think that's so inspiring that after you heard those horribly negative comments about what quote unquote might be happening in the industry, that you kept going?
It was hard, especially as like at the time I was 16, 17, so you were much more influenceable at that time.
Yes.
Like hearing something like that, you immediately think like, oh, you know, like maybe they know something, like, and even though in the back of my mind I'm like, no, I want to pursue my thing. It was hard, but I feel like I met the right people as well. You know, not to shit on all the guys, like I feel like there's also very like good, very respectful men out there in the industry who like just when I mentioned this story to one of them, he told me like, no, you're gonna be a film director.
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, I like him too. He's like one of my he's my cinematographer now. Like we work together. Yeah. And that was the moment I was like, wow, this is someone I really want to work with, because I feel like at the time like I didn't believe in myself because of what I've heard. And that's so sad because, you know, you're young and you want to do this and you have this passion, but it somehow like stepped on me and I didn't have the confidence.
Yeah.
But I feel like him telling me that, and he didn't even know me a lot back then. I feel like he just said it to make me feel better. But he told me, no, you're not going to be an assistant director. You're not going to be a whatever. You're going to be a film director.
So nice to hear that.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah,
and
a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah, and I feel like a little goes a long way. Just hearing that from someone in the industry made me want to work harder. And then I feel like I was able to switch those. Whenever someone steps on me now, I just take it respectfully and I'm like, yes, sir. And then I go back and I'm like, I'm going to work 50 times harder and prove you wrong.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing that you kept going and overcame all that bullshit.
Yeah.
We need more people like you. We need like people who are willing to like fight against what the normal might seem like. So I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. I see more and more females on sets, which I'm super proud of. I try to get more females on my sets as well whenever I can. I also try to get more BIPOC voices, more representation.
Yes, absolutely. And it, like you said before, like if there's only, you know, white men or one stereotypical person, or that is like, if it's like one person but then like 10 people of the same, like the work is gonna be so stale and like not layered. So we need so many people with different backgrounds, with different departments to layer the piece. Yeah, or else it just looks like one thing.
It just looks the same.
Yes. Something so predictable that would win.
But I also love that Chloe Zhao won the Oscar for Best Director. Yes. And then this year again, Jane Campion. I was very proud of females.
Jane Campion, what film
for
did she
The
do?
Power of the Dog.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see the film, but I did see that was like one female in the group. Yeah. And yeah, Chloe Zhao's Nomadland was so good. Yeah, we need that representation, absolutely.
Yeah, also Everything Everywhere All at Once, for example, is doing so well right now.
Oh my god, I love that film.
Yeah, and like I feel like this is just the type of film that existed before too, but we just never got to see it because like there was no representation. So now I feel like the cinema industry has seen that representation can also make money. So they're more open to it right now. Yes. Because, I mean, the film has done incredibly well.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I cried so many times during it. Yeah. I was also, like, alone. And, like, you know, when you go to the movies by yourself.
It's a really good experience. Yeah. I've done that now twice. It was a new experience for me in 2022. I was like, hey, let's try this.
Yeah. What'd you go see?
I went to see The Last Duel.
Oh, with Adam Driver and Matt Damon?
Yes.
How was
it? It was a really good film.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed watching the different perspectives. It was also a very feminist perspective in the film.
Sweet.
But it was a male director, so that was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that from a podcast or something. But I was like, oh, it's Adam Driver, it's Matt Damon, it's the usual like Oscar winners.
Yes.
Like, maybe I won't see that. I'm gonna go see Everything Everywhere All at Once and be amazed. Yeah. Going to the movies alone is like, it's such a like, it's something that I didn't think I would be able to do because I thought I would look weird.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people do it. I don't know.
I feel like first time I went, I was like, it was because actually my friend couldn't make it. And I was like, oh, I have these tickets. I want to go. And then I just end up watching it. And I was like, are people looking at me? Like, I was thinking of that. But the second time, I was like, this is an elite experience.
Yeah.
Only the elite understand this.
Totally.
Went all the way to the back, sat by myself, cried my eyes out.
Amazing. That's what you need to do sometimes. I feel that. That was me at Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just like the rock scene.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but that was like, I was just sitting there like, well, I guess I'm fully crying in public. Yeah.
It's dark though.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
A24 has been doing like incredible films.
Yes. Everything they put out, I'm like so interested to see. Have you seen The Northman?
I haven't seen that one.
Okay. I've heard good things about that. But yeah. Anyways, let's switch gears into all of the things that you've been working on. So you spoke to me a little bit about something that you're working on this whole week.
Yes.
Or for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
So are you writing and directing a short film?
So this is different. I haven't written this one.
Okay.
I had a story sent to me by one of my dearest friends. He's an incredible writer. And I took it and I looked at it, and as director, I wanted to add a little my own twist to it. So I had my other writer that I work with, who I also love, Travis, shout out to him. And he added like kind of the elements that I wanted. So actually 2 writers.
Okay.
But I'm directing.
Okay. And is this your first time directing?
Not my first time. I've done student short films and stuff that I don't ever post and I don't ever talk about because, I don't know, they're just not me. I feel like I've outgrown them, and they were made when I never had any experience in the actual industry.
Gotcha.
So it was very much like 3-4 people getting together, like doing something. So I don't even count those.
Sure. I know what you mean. Been there. There. So this is something that is like...
Yes.
Working with a lot of team of people.
Yeah.
Tell me about the process and how has it like transformed over these last 2 weeks?
Honestly, I see this as my first like pre-professional type thing.
Cool.
It's a very short story. It's gonna be like 1 minute, 1 minute 30 seconds, something like that. Very short. It's a drama. Drama is my signature genre.
Okay. I see it. We love the drama.
Yes. And we started actually working on it, I believe, a month ago or something. But in the last 2-3 weeks is when like pre-production really definitely took off. It was supposed to be this like really small thing. Again, it was gonna be kind of like a student film.
Gotcha.
It was gonna be like just 5-6 people getting together with a camera, but using the lighting better since I have more knowledge now. But then I brought on my cinematographer, and he brought on a bunch of people, and now we have a crew of 17 people. 17?
Yes. No way. Wait, that's awesome. So everyone is like in different departments, I guess.
Yes,
or
different departments.
Just cinematography?
No, different departments. Like he has his own lighting people, electric people, and also people for grip.
Great.
Now we are getting more equipment than I ever imagined we were gonna get.
Wow. How does that feel to like see it expand and grow? It's
very nice, but at the same time I feel like we are in pre-production for my other film.
Okay.
So that has been stopped now for this because this has gotten out of hand and it's become like so big.
It's too big.
Yeah, and I feel like it's my first time actually experiencing what it feels like going into pre-production as a director. Because my phone like never is off. Like there's always like 10 texts at least from different people asking me different questions, and I have to make decisions.
Gotcha.
At all times of the day.
Everyone wants you to be on call all the time.
Yes, and it's like, it sounds very like egotistical, like, oh, everyone wants to talk to me,
but
or something like that. But it's true.
Like, you are the person spearheading it.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like sometimes they need to, for example, we have fish in the story.
Ooh, like live fish.
Live fish, and also fake, because we don't want to torture it. So any scenes that are like gonna be like, we're not going to be torturing any fish.
Amazing. No torturing fish on this podcast.
No. But yeah, so she was asking me, like, we are going to go to pet shop. I need you to be active. I need you to reply to me because they're there, like, live. So they're, like, texting me these pictures. Which one do you want? Yeah, all little decisions, but I've been forcing myself to be more like precise on my decision making. Because before I feel like I used to be like, oh, they all look good, but I'm like, no.
Whatever, yeah.
People need an answer. Like, I feel like on other sets too, that's what I observed. To be a good director, you need to be like, this is what I wanted, this is what I want, this is what we're doing. And sometimes problems come up and you might have to like switch that decision, but
real quick, and then let everyone know that it's changed.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big job. But I'm sure, like, because you've had the experience of working assistant director and like being, you know, other up departments, and like I'm assuming you would know how to do that. So you can step into it.
Yeah, actually, a lot of my friends were telling me at the start, like, why don't you just start directing? Like, why are you even, like, ADing? But I think assistant directing has really helped me understand, like, a schedule and understand to make my wants, like, more doable. Cool. According to the budget.
Yeah.
Because as a director, you can dream big, right? I might, like, ask for a villa, ask for this, ask for that. We don't have the budget for that. So I see a lot of like first time directors being like, I wanted this way, but like they don't understand that like the budget doesn't work that way, the scheduling isn't gonna work. There's a lot of elements that goes into it. I feel like filmmaking is definitely like equal to problem solving.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that. And like quick on the spot problem solving. Yeah. Wow. So okay, what is the title of this project? Can you reveal the title?
Yes.
With the fish? Oh, it's too early? Okay.
I think I'll reveal the title. It's
Untitled Fish Project.
It's called Breath.
Breath?
Yes.
Okay. So Breath is happening this week, but then you say that it's being stopped because of another project?
Other project is stopped right now.
Other project stopped.
For Breath.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We gotta take a breath.
Yes. We gotta take a breather. I think we'll be able to release it, but the only problem is it's gonna go through a festival circuit.
Okay.
So once you make a short film, if you wanted to submit and stuff, most of the time you're not allowed to post it.
Right.
So as much as I would love to like just share it out there with the world, I think it's gonna go through that for like a few months, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, a friend of mine submitted to festivals, and sometimes they wouldn't hear back for like a year.
Yeah.
It's like so weird. Okay, and so what is this other project that you're working on?
The other project is called Pretty Drawings.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that one is taking a little bit longer in pre-production because we're trying to raise funds to be able to pay people better and just have...
So hard to raise funds. I know exactly what you're going through.
It is really hard. I've applied to like so many grants. Heard back from some of them I haven't. They definitely take their time, which I understand because everyone is applying. Everyone wants money. And it's been hard. I feel like it's also harder as like not having a lot of things to show as a portfolio, just using like student films and stuff. It's been hard securing funding, but we're gonna try to raise money with Indiegogo, which is a platform. So good. I will put the link in my bio for that, and hopefully people will help because it's actually a topic that's really like social issue based. I'll give trigger warning before mentioning.
Yes.
Trigger warning: sexual assault. So the protagonist is basically the aftermath of being sexually assaulted by her father in her childhood.
Wow. And
it's based on a real life story. Okay.
Is it yours or is it
No, it's
another
not
person?
mine.
Another person.
Yeah, I've told this to a lot of people that I've talked to the story about. I'm very grateful that I never experienced something like that, which also brought me to the question of I like really asked myself, am I in a place of like directing something like that when I haven't experienced this? But I feel very confident now because I have a lot of people who are close to me that has experienced it. And I've had hour-long chats with them. Of course, like it's nowhere near like experiencing the real thing, but I've done tried to do my homework best as I can. I've researched for hours, read psychology papers, and that's gonna be nice. I really want to bring awareness to the topic, to the actual real life case itself too. Okay. It happened like in Turkey, in my country.
Okay, wow.
And it's an issue that like it's still ongoing. It wasn't resolved, which is why like I'm really passionate about this.
Thank you for, being able to like dive into the research of it too, and not like making a work that's kind of superficial.
Of course.
Especially when we're talking about this topic.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so important to get all the details and talk to the people involved, but also to other perspectives. Are you finding that like the characters and the subjects involved, like, are you giving the victim and the oppressor the perspective, or is there like a main protagonist and their story is more important to tell?
It's their story. It's the way of kind of realizing their own past and having to deal with that.
Gotcha.
So I don't really like having graphical stuff in my films. That's my approach. I like non-graphical because I think alluding to events sometimes makes you feel more the pain than actually like showing a recreation of events, which is obviously fake.
Right.
And also with something like this, because there's like kids involved and stuff, I didn't want to like have to even have actors act out something like that. So yeah, it was very like touchy subject.
It's such a that's so interesting that like maybe as the audience we don't really necessarily need to see visually it happen, because we can feel it in the pain of the aftermath. I'm thinking of like other films that I've seen where like it has been very graphic and it's almost like too much to watch, and it, like you said, is like fake and not really what happened because it's not in the actual moment.
Exactly. I feel like if you have a lot of budget and you get these coordinators, like you should have an intimacy coordinator for something like that.
Totally.
I don't have the budget for that, so I don't want to do something where people would be put into uncomfortable situation. If you have the budget, honestly, go for it. But I feel like even if I had the budget, I wouldn't, because I'm with you in that, like, I feel like it affects me more seeing through someone how they feel and like almost kind of like uncovering that storyline.
And in the process of this this film, I guess it like we see the aftermath. I don't want you to give away too much, but it's
very psychological.
Cool. Based. Okay. Like so we really get to see like the breakdown. I'm assuming. Cool. Very important to tell that story. And you spoke a little bit about like having an intimacy director and like navigating like a safe space on set.
Sure.
Like how do you lead that?
So this came after the Me Too movement, which I think was amazing progress in the film industry.
Absolutely.
But of course, it adds another person and other fees, and it's also hard to navigate in that way in the indie world.
People are so expensive.
Yes.
That's what I'm realizing too.
Yeah, it's expensive. I mean, everyone you bring to set, you have to feed them, like transportation, so...
Yeah.
But on a bigger set, if there's something like that, I think it's amazing to have this, because I think what they're doing is like they have these contracts. So intimacy coordinator could be anything for like a kissing scene to like a hugging scene, right? Whatever the actor is comfortable with. So they might say like when we're hugging in the scene, there is a level that you can put your hands versus like doesn't go down, something like that. It depends on
choreography almost.
Yeah, it's almost choreography. There are some arguments that says these intimacy coordinator making it less realistic.
Oh, interesting.
Which is true, right? Like now, instead of just going in for a hug, the actor also has to think about, okay, I'm allowed to put my hand like right there, but I need to make it seem like natural. In that exact moment, like, a hug could go 50 different ways.
Totally.
Like,
yep.
So it does add a layer of complication, but like all the good complications to have.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm like, that's a really interesting point. Like, how does it change what we actually make if we have an intimacy director? But like, kind of going back to what we were talking about like, we all need to respect each other on set or in the space that we're making. So, yes, we're all like making this thing that's going to happen later, but what's happening right in that process? Like, how do we take care of each other right in that moment? so that no one leaves the set feeling like they were oppressed or feeling unsafe. So important.
It is so important. So that's why I'm glad they brought this role. It's very new, actually. Like, I think 2 years or something, this role. We didn't have this before.
Okay.
So it is very new. It's interesting to see how it's like fitting into the industry. Like usually the older people are like very upset with it.
Yes, I know what you mean. Different generations, different perspectives.
But what you say about safe space is so like important. I went to this set, and there was also, I don't want to disclose too much because it hasn't come up yet, but it was a short film, and they also had like sensitive elements, and they had a psychiatrist like available for us to speak.
Very cool.
I don't know if they paid them or like they volunteered or it was honorarium. I don't know the process, but it was like, here's the email. Like, if you feel like you can't handle this topic or you need someone to talk to, like, this person is booked for us. Like, you can talk to them. That was the first time I saw that, and I was like, "Well, this is really cool."
I've never heard of that. Mostly because I feel like it would be so much money, but hopefully this person is getting paid well, and like, because that's such important work, like just to have like a third party, like someone who's outside of the project, kind of just be there just in case. I feel like I need to do that for every project I do now.
Professional.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, this is
so
really,
cool.
really great. And it shows like the director cares about the crew, like the producer, whoever brought that on. Even if you don't need it, it's there for you, and it shows that like this is a safe space.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really, thank you for sharing that story. That's so cool. So yeah, I mean, like, these are incredible projects, I feel like, that are bringing up important topics. But then you're also working on something else, right? That's coming in September? Or is that the same project?
Oh, this is Pretty Drawings. September is going to be
same project. Got you. You're so busy. You're just working on so many things. Okay, yeah. And so just going back a little bit too, I'm really curious to hear about when you are in that AD position of assistant director. Well, how does it feel to like uplift another person's vision, and like, because you're a creative yourself, like, how do you work around what someone else wants?
It's honestly not creative at all.
LOL. Oh my gosh, tell me more.
Okay, so a lot of people assume like, oh, assistant director, right? Like, it's also called first AD.
Gotcha.
So like first AD is like the right hand of the director. Like, that's the person. Like, if they go with a hierarchy point of view, that's the person that's second, like, highest on the thing.
Right.
But like, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm organizing the day. I'm making call sheets, and I'm making sure everything runs smoothly. Like, it's very much like a manager position.
I see.
And I feel like people are very confused, like, especially people who don't work in film, obviously, of like, they think it's this creative role that like kind of helps with the vision, but it's honestly not. I've had instances where like the director is busy, so I'm directing. That happens.
Right.
I call cut, I call action. I know what they want in that scene.
So you get to jump in.
Yeah, I love that when that happens.
Yeah, I bet.
But even then, it's like, I don't cut it in a way I would cut. I cut it like, okay, I know they wanted to see this, and then they wanted to cut it. So like, basically helping them, filling in for them. Call sheets, very important. And if you have, like, I heard this from someone, and it's so true, if you have a good assistant director and a good cinematographer, that they will guide the director. Like, even if the director is a first-time director, you can still make something beautiful.
So it's the people behind the director who actually like make the thing and keep everything going.
Yes. Yeah. Like, after I started assistant directing, I worked under this first assistant director. Her name's Dila. She's incredible. She's a DGC assistant director, and I worked as her third. And I learned so much from her of like how important this role actually is, in that it makes everything run smoothly. And you only see if an assistant director is bad if there's like something going wrong.
Right.
It's like one of these roles that, like, if they're doing everything perfectly, you don't really get to, like, appreciate how much they do.
True. Yeah.
But once something goes wrong, like, that's when you understand, like, oh, they're really important. After working with her, I went to, like, a few sets as different positions, and I was like, I cannot work on this set. There's no way. Because when the AD is bad or, like, inexperienced or they don't know what they're doing, you end up staying on set for, like, I'm not even kidding you, like, 17 hours, which is so bad.
When it was supposed to be, like, 8 hours or
12.
something? When it's supposed to be, like, 12? Yeah, like, 5 extra hours just because of this one person?
It's horrible.
So
and,
bad.
like, no one actually understands that, but I feel like when you see a good AD, then you see, like, okay, that's not how it's supposed to be. Because a good AD makes sure, like, everyone actually gets their lunch for an hour, which might feel like, okay, that's not the biggest job in the world, but it's so important when you're working long hours and people start getting tired. And also, they are, I feel like, the biggest problem solver on set. Like, whenever something happens, they might need to change a schedule. Location got messed up, so we need to shoot this instead of that today. Yeah, it's really important position that I feel like a lot of people don't appreciate.
Yeah, and, like, it takes a certain amount of skill to be able to do all of that while, you know, also uplifting the vision. And, like it feels like you have to be, like, with 8 arms or something, like, just to be able to make that job happen. Yeah. With all the tasks and with all the managing and the scheduling. I was doing a little bit of, like, some associate producer role at this project that I was just working on, and I would just do all that most of the time, like emailing people, checking in with people, circling back with people, like, so many, like, little tasks that weren't directly linked to the creation of the project. And I was like, wow, this is, like, a really weird thing for me to do, because usually I am the talent, or I'm, like, the on-stage person. And then I was like, this is really a lot of work for people to, like, all those background things, like, that they have to get done, or else the project doesn't get made. It's incredible how, like, little those people get recognition when they should be, you know, nominated for Oscars and, like, you know.
It is a really hard job, and I don't think I can do it full time, like, ever.
And be, like, on call 24/7. Yeah, jeez.
Like, for me, it's, like, my day job currently, because it's how I started in the industry, and I really like it. But I've heard that, like, AD lifespan is shorter, even.
like the human lifespan, or their career? Like
the human lifespan is shorter because it's so stressful, especially on these bigger shows where, like, the producer is, like, stepping on you and, like, watching your every move, and if something goes wrong, like, we end up wrapping 30 minutes late, that's on you.
That's the saddest statistic I've ever heard. That's so sad. Now I'm thinking about, like, all of the, like, Friends episodes, or, like, long-running TV shows. Like, did they ever have to get, like, a new AD because that one AD, like, just couldn't last?
No.
Oh, gosh. So sad. Right? Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it is a stressful role. Like,
it sounds like a lot, and I had a little taste of it during this project I was working on, and I'm like, I can't. Yeah, you can't do it full time. There's just no human power to be able to do that.
Yeah, I have so much respect for that. But I also, through ADing, saw what a good AD does, what a bad AD does. So then choosing my own AD, like, conducting my calls, I can smell a good AD.
It's in the air.
Yeah, it's in the air. Like, I can literally, we open the call, I ask one question, they don't answer correctly, it's done. I'm like, thank you, we'll call you back.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for telling me all about that, because I don't have, like, a lot of experience on set, but I will definitely, the next time I am, thank my ADs and all of the grips, all of the people who, like,
all the production assistants, you know.
Yeah.
I love how, like, I feel so sad. It's, like, a bittersweet moment whenever I, like, introduce myself to someone. They're like, oh, I'm just a production assistant. I'm like, no, don't say that. Yeah. Don't say just. Like, you do so much.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. It sounds like it, and everyone listening, thank your assistants.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you to all the assistants out there.
Let's talk a little bit about your podcast.
For sure.
We're doing a podcast, but you also have one.
Yes.
The Film Academy podcast.
Not as successful as yours.
Oh, shush. Oh, shush. All podcasts are successful. So you took a little break from it, but
yes.
when it comes back, I think it's really cool that, like, you're touching on a topic like, no film school, no problem. Like, like you don't need to go to school to be an artist and to be a film artist. I'd love to hear a little bit more. Have your sip, have your drink,
No.
have your drink. Like you talked about it being like authentic stories and giving a voice to artists. Yeah, like tell me a little bit more about like why you wanted to make this.
So how it started, actually it also started in a pandemic, as all podcasts.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And I think at the time, actually, I was still in, like, getting my toes wet in the industry and trying to find my way around it. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking this, I listened to this, like, I used to go to Zoom events and stuff to, like, network. And I listened to one of this director, and I remember, oh, it would be really cool if I could just talk to him for 30 minutes, whatever it is, over Zoom. You know how, like, before the pandemic, this would be like, oh, can I buy you a coffee?
Right.
And just, like, tackle your brain a little bit.
Yes.
But we were in the pandemic, so it's really, like, you know, it's tough to ask someone, like, would you go get coffee with me? And then, like, I don't know if they're comfortable or not. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
So then I was like, oh, it would be really nice if I could just ask to Zoom. And then they don't even have to move. Like, it would be just like 15 minutes, 30 minutes of us talking. And maybe at the end of it, we might, like, become, like, friends, connections, whatever it is. And then I thought to myself, oh, why not I just, like, record this? And then I can put it out there. And if anyone, like, wanted to also talk to this person, but for some reason didn't have the opportunity to, or maybe they're too shy, then they might, like, get to listen and learn that way. So I felt like it was a good way of both receiving new information for me and giving away. And giving away feels so incredible. Like, I feel like I was so, who would even talk to me? Like, that was my mindset when I started. But then whenever I reached out to someone, hey, can I tackle your brain? And, like, it's going to be a podcast. They were always so, like, open and so nice about it. And I was like, wow, people love helping people.
That's good. I'm glad,
that's what I realized.
I'm glad you've had that experience.
And it's so true. Like, even for me, like, what happened is I had a aha moment of full circle, that happening to me. Like, someone asking me, can I grab coffee with you to tackle your brain?
Feels nice, eh?
I was like, you're asking
you
me?
want to talk to me? Yeah, I know what you mean.
I was like, I'm the one asking this all the time.
Yeah.
And it was nice. And I also had her on my podcast. And yeah, it's called Film Academy Podcast. I'm going to revamp it. This podcast actually gave me a lot of motivation.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm going to find some time. I'm going to make it happen. No excuses.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully we'll be back. I'm really excited. I have some pre-recorded episodes with some incredible people.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to link all of it below. So
yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. And when it does come out, and no rush at all, these things take time. It's a lot of hours of recording. I'll definitely plug it and we can do a little share. I think what you spoke on about wanting to talk to artists and, like, just, pick your brain, like, kind of bounce ideas. I feel like that conversation is so important. As we make art, we can't just, like, forget about what we make. We have to, like, be in conversation about it, and hear from other artists who are, like, outside of your field. I feel like that's so important. That's why I started this podcast. Yeah, so I'm really glad to hear that you want to keep going with it. And that's interesting that it, like, started from you, like, already doing conversations with people and then just being like, hey, can we record this? Like, that's so cool. Yeah, very, like, off the cuff and spontaneous.
Yeah, and then, like, the vibe I aim for is kind of like yours. I really like yours, actually. Like, I feel so comfortable. I don't feel like I'm getting, like, interviewed or
good.
Big thing.
I hate that. This is not late night or anything like that.
Yeah, and then, like, that's kind of also what I wanted, like, because a few people I interviewed at the very beginning were my friends.
Same.
So it was like, hey, you're my friend. Like, let's talk about it, but, like, let's record it.
Totally.
We were aware that it's being recorded, but it's still, like, since it's your friend, you don't really get into the headspace of, like, oh, like, this is going to be posted.
Yes.
And then afterwards, I reached out to people I didn't know. And then now I'm working on a project with them, which is crazy.
Like, that's so cool.
Just through that podcast.
Wow. That's what we need. We need people to talk to each other, especially after a pandemic.
I feel like what you said about, like, artists talking to each other is also right. Like, I feel like in pandemic, it was so isolating.
Yes.
So whatever you're going through as an artist, whether that's, like, struggling to find work, chasing invoices, like, it might be anything, you're not alone. And I feel like just getting to talk to someone, and even them just saying something simple as, oh, yeah, I'm also chasing invoices, makes you feel so seen and so validated.
Yes, that community. Yes. It's like a hug. It's like, we got each
Virtual
other.
hug.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, absolutely go check out this podcast. I was listening to the 3 episodes that you already have.
Oh my God.
No, they're so cute. They're so cute. I love just like the vibe is very casual, and you have like not just filmmakers on, but like actors too, which is cool. I think that's so cool. That's so awesome.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Oh my gosh. I'm just looking at my notes. I feel like we've touched on everything, hopefully. But if there's anything else that you want to plug, I want to give you the mic. Like, and where can people find you? The mic is yours.
Okay, so my Instagram, as we talked about Instagram before, is Ace Kazkayasi. That's going to be a little hard to type. ACE.
I'll link it below.
Yeah, KAZKOYASI. That's my Instagram. And my website is actually just being built right now, so it doesn't look very good, but it's called directedbyace.com.
Love it.
Thank you.
Great domain.
Yes, and my podcast is Film Academy Podcast with Ace.
Amazing.
You can find it on Spotify, and soon it's going to be on Apple Store as well.
Yay! Apple Music. Get that Apple.
Yeah.
Spotify's good too, though, I feel like.
I like Spotify.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Oh, yay! Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much for having me. Like, I felt like this was I felt like you were my friend for like the past 5 years.
Can we be friends?
Of course,
okay,
we are.
That's what I want.
It was incredible. I'm so honored to be on.
It's been such a pleasure to hear about your process, and thank you for making films that are important and featuring females.
Thank you so much.
Keep going.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Art Versations podcast. Please help the podcast community continue to grow by clicking subscribe or follow on your podcast platform, and leave a review. As well, follow the podcast on Instagram at ArtVersationsPod. You'll find photos of the guest you just heard, plus highlights and quotes from each episode. Let's keep the Art Versation going. Send in a DM with your thoughts about art and any questions you might have for guests. Special thank you goes out to Jen Marquez and Maxim Bartnowski for their contributions. And thank you, listener. Till next time.